Welcome to the A&R Worldwide podcast presented by Nuplak with your boy Taylor Jones here as your host. This is the Executives in Discussion podcast where we talk to experienced executives and creatives. We dive into their journeys, ups and downs, the state of the business, where they see it going, and of course gathering some priceless advice and key takeaways. If you're in the music industry or you're looking to get your start in the music biz and want to hear from the very best, this podcast is for you. Today I am joined by the president of personalized music distribution at STEM, Kristin Graziani, who is a leader in the tech industry, facilitating RIAA Platinum and Gold certifications and leading the team that manages platform relationships directly with Spotify and Apple. STEM has become one of the most innovative and successful companies in the industry and is used by the likes of Sheryl Crow, Lainey, Frank Ocean, MGMT, and Tiffany Haddish. Let's get into discussion. Hi, Kristin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You just had a panel at MUSEXPO?
Just had a panel.
How was that? What did you guys discuss?
It was good. We discussed all the topical issues, AI, and all the various perspectives there, which is actually more unified than I thought it would be. We talked about UMG and TikTok, the U.S. government and TikTok.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the things that everyone wants to hear about.
Well, nice. And a lot of politics involved in those things too.
Yeah.
We'll try and keep it a little more light today.
Yeah.
So you're the president of STEM.
Yeah.
And how long have you been with STEM? Did you start early at the company? Is it a recent move over? Give me a bit of your background and how you ended up at STEM and some of the things that you're focusing on there.
Totally. So I didn't found the business. My partner Milana did. She, I think, launched that 8.5 years ago. And I had the pleasure of meeting the founding team about a year after they launched the business. My background's in the tech space, so I've built a number of venture-backed tech companies, largely focusing on building revenue teams.
Yeah.
Definitely not in the music industry. Never thought I'd find myself in the music industry. But when I met Milana, there was just like instant chemistry and a really clear understanding of what she wanted to build.
Got it.
And she recruited me probably over like a year and a half, and I joined 7 years ago now.
7 years ago.
Yeah,
wow.
seven
You've already seen the whole growth, and you've been a massive part of that growth. So,
yeah.
And the growth has been amazing. Of course, I've been familiar with STEM for a long time as well, and there are various other distributors in town. There are some things that really differentiate you guys, though, and you've always been known as being really artist first as well. Can you tell me a bit about where you are as far as your positioning as a distribution and music company?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard right now to appropriately position. Differentiating's hard. The marketplace is so crowded. And we're very well aware that distribution in and of itself is commodified. That said, we try to differentiate in two ways. The first is, and I think the most important, is the service offering we built. And a lot of the other businesses, whether it's an ADA or the Orchard or labels that are affiliated with the major label system, they have the mandate of going after market share. And we have the luxury to not have to do that. So what we do is we probably see hundreds of artists a week. Our team is listening to everything, and we're turning down 99% of that. Really
interesting. So, and sometimes that's, if you think from a purely business perspective, it would seem counterintuitive, but you're going clearly for quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Here. And so what is the process? Do you, as a distribution company, do you have A&Rs that just like major record labels would, that are traditionally listening to music, farming through things, and what type of, is it based on the music, the quality of the music, and the passion that lies within that, or are you looking for metrics as well when you're deciding to bring things in?
Yeah, it's a blend of both. We have folks from the traditional major label system, people that are A&Rs by trade. We have people that are from kind of every facet of the industry that put their ears on the music. Of course, it's first about the music. Like, does it resonate? The second piece is, what is the team?
To that point, sorry to interrupt you. To that point, though, if you love a record, or if your team loves a record that they hear, but this artist is brand new, no environment, hasn't released a record before, and of course there are different factors like, they got a good manager, they've got a good agent, they've got a good team around them that breeds credibility, all those things too. But if an artist comes to you guys out of the blue, amazing song, amazing voice, crazy talent, but hasn't got a single follower, never released a record. What is the position for you guys on a project like that?
We'll do it selectively.
Got it.
We'll do it when there's like a resounding yes across multiple members of the team. We'll do it when our roster isn't filled with emerging artists. So it's really about balancing
or maybe
the
those
ratio. Too similar. Exactly. We just had that conversation last week because we have a limited number of bullets with the platforms.
Sure.
And if we have X number of large artists, we want to make sure that there's fewer emerging artists so that we can call in the favors and we have the leverage that our larger artists give us.
Yeah.
Help us get wins on the board with maybe an artist that truly has no music out.
Yeah. And it's harder than ever, arguably, at the moment with the volume of music being released every single day.
Yep.
I mean, I was talking about this with multiple times, actually, and with the volume of music being released every day, you could release a record every month, and it's almost like a 1 in 12 million chance when you got over 1 million records coming out every month. It's crazy. So what are some of the things that, from your perspective as a distributor and a music executive, that now you are a music executive, and you have been for the last 7 years, which is, I guess, crazy considering you never thought you'd be in the music industry.
Totally.
But now as a music executive, what are some of the things that the artists can be doing to A, motivate their teams like yourself, and B, try to cut through the noise? That may be a combination of the socials and the marketing and all of that kind of stuff, but is there anything that they could be doing differently to try and cut through those 100,000 records being released every single day? Should you be releasing on a Friday? Maybe it's too saturated on a Friday.
Right.
Are there any tips that you would give artists that are coming through the system that could help them stand out and cut through the noise?
Yeah. So I think as it relates to like motivating the team, a lot of it is how well are you packaging your pitch? And what work have you done before you started working with us?
Yeah.
Because then we have something to work with to take it to the next level. As it relates to how you cut through the noise, I mean, a lot of it is, for better or for worse, leveraging relationships that your manager has to get in the rooms with the right writers and the right producers to make the right music. And the right music cuts through the noise. And then after you get that initial in, it's about how do you figure out what exactly are the fans you have today and how you get more of them. Yeah.
And how do you think it's best to utilize the fans in a scenario like today? You've got this complete accessibility. You can access fans at any time. Do you think that there's ever too much accessibility compared to the old days? Can you be engaging with your fans too much that it maybe starts to dilute what you have to offer?
It's a good question. I think there are versions of too much if you're potentially giving them too much music, like biting off more than they can chew.
That's a really good. What is too much music?
I think too much music is when your quality begins to decline. Because and there's not like, you can't say there's too much music for this artist. Like it's so artist specific, but it's about when you're setting expectations here and you need to continue to perform to that degree.
Now, if you're consistent with the quality of the music, what is a good recommendation for a healthy release schedule for an artist at the moment? Because you've got artists like Chris Brown that will drop a 24 to 50 track album. And then you've got others that will release a record every 3 months, and some that do it once a year. So
it's just so specific. I don't think you can have one answer.
But do the platforms look, or do they judge that on a case by case basis too?
That's
maybe it's different when you're up and coming.
The platforms are asking, what is the plan? They want to know that there is a plan.
Got it.
And that doesn't mean that you need to necessarily stick to those exact release dates. In fact, you should be looking at how things are reacting, and maybe you need to move a release up or pull a release date back.
Yeah.
But they want to know that you've thought through it and that there's not just music coming, there's additional content coming, there's additional tactics that are actually being put into place, and that, frankly, there's spend associated with that as well.
Sure. But thank you for the tips. I want to dive into a little more about you and your day.
Yeah.
You must be super busy, I would imagine. What are some of the things that you do to manage your work-life balance on a daily basis? So there are some like musts for you. Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking about it this morning. I try not to touch my phone for an hour after I wake up. So I have this new alarm clock called the Hatch, just me plugging Hatch, no affiliation with it. And it'll go off by the side of my bed, but my phone is in another room. So then
what led to that decision? Because to me, that sounds like a decision that is a result of a particular scenario or argument or stress buildup or some kind of catalyst that would have led you to say, you know what, I'm going to make this change for me.
Yeah. I think it's that, like, if you're getting that amount of information that early in the day, like your brain is very much flooded and you're not able to sort your thoughts. Like that's a personal decision. And I guess I'm fortunate now to have team members that are in different time zones so that I know that if there's some sort of, 5-alarm fire, someone's probably handling it.
Yeah.
But that said, it like gives me the space to start thinking strategically before I get into a place where I'm in just like tactical firefighting mode.
So, and that's really healthy in the morning.
Yeah.
How do you approach that once you finish work? When do you finish work?
When I finish work, I think varies
when the work's done.
By day. The work is never done.
I know.
It's like you have to call it at some point. I usually call it when like I'm starting, I notice that the quality of my work is starting to decline, and that things that shouldn't take that long or taking too long, like this isn't efficient. It makes sense to pull the plug. And then when I do, I'm really good about putting the phone down and not looking at it until the alarm clock goes off, an hour goes by.
Do you meditate? Do you work out? Do you do any of those?
I don't meditate. I do work out. Everything from yoga to sometimes just fitting in like a 20-minute workout at the gym.
And you make time for it?
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, after work? Morning?
Also varies.
Wow.
Day by day. Like I'll look at a few days ahead and maybe do a morning workout, evening workout, or middle of the day if I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. And anything that, what's on the horizon for STEM moving forward? You guys in 2022, you did a big funding round and you've been consistently growing. Are there any strategy shifts or areas that you're looking, or maybe genres that you're looking to diversify and scale into more so now in 2024? What's on the horizon for the company?
Yeah, the focus has been how do we make sure that the artists we sign that are largely US artists are maximized internationally. So we just brought on a head of international, Nima, who joins us from Interscope with really extensive experience. And a lot of his mandate is leveraging existing partners that he's used in various territories and regions and further building out new partners that we can make sure our artists are tapping into. And looking at some of those partners, commercial partnerships, and just deeper relationships with these international folks.
Nice. So international first, scaling, and quality over quantity at STEM.
Exactly. And and continuing to deliver.
Well, please continue to crush also.
Trying.
And thanks for the contributions to the music industry that you guys are doing. Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, good to meet you.
You too.
Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Spotify page, and stay tuned for the next episode of Executives in Discussion on the A&R Worldwide podcast presented by Nuplak with your host, Taylor Jones. See you next time.